This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 22. Hey everybody, I'm Brian Deemer.
I'm Peter Rios.
We are sexy bitches, yeah!
Alright, welcome to episode 22 of our wonderful podcast. With us here today we have Jamie.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about some stuff.
What are we going to talk about?
Well, we're going to talk about the contest that we're currently running.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about eBay.
Okay.
We're going to stump the Rios.
Good.
We're going to talk about Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah. Don't panic.
All right. So, first bit of news is we announced last episode our contest that we're running. And we just want to remind you about it. And maybe it's your first podcast, so maybe you don't know about the contest. The contest runs until June 1st. What it is we want you to produce for us a 30-second promo. In that promo, you can use sound effects, you can use clips from our show, you can use whatever you want to use. You can record your own voice, introing the show, however you want to do it. It's totally up to you. It just has to be 30 seconds or less, and it has to...
Really just spotlight what our show's about.
Exactly.
Yeah. In a fun, podcasty kind of way.
And the reason that you're going to do that for us is because the one that we like the most wins a prize. The prize is courtesy of Discount Comic Book Service, where you can get all your comics for 35 to 50% off.
www.dcbservice.com.
We love you.
That's right. And the reason that we're really showcasing them here is because they're launching a new website on June 1st, which is why the deadline is June 1st, and that is instocktrades.com, where you can get all trade paperbacks at 35% off. And anything that they have on the website, they will be available to ship the next day, and that's why it's called In Stock Trades.
Do they have a certain, if you spend a certain amount, you get shipping for free?
Yeah, it's $50, and then
Really?
you get free shipping.
Wow.
And it doesn't
It's not
take...
hard.
No, it's not hard at all. So it's a really, really good deal. So they have given us the prizes, and here's the list of prizes. Essential Defenders Volume 1 trade paperback. The Complete John Sable Freelance trade paperback. Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes oversized hardcover. Ultimates Volume 1 oversized hardcover. And Superman Batman The Supergirl Story, that hardcover. So it's over $100 worth of merchandise, free for the winner of this contest. So get to work, get your computers going, and produce us a promo.
And I'll tell you that I was just, again, looking at that list. And for some of you don't know, the Complete John Sable Freelance is gorgeous, gorgeous stuff. It was Mike Grell, I should say. That was some of his first work. And for some of you who know him from Green Arrow Longbow Hunters and the first series of Green Arrow. Especially the second series, Green Arrow, at the beginning, the first, 20, 50, 100 issues, 50, 75 issues.
Yeah, he did quite a lot, yeah.
He did of those, and his Mark Sable stuff is really, really nice.
John
Sable. Yeah, Mark Sable.
Wow. Who's Mark?
I know,
That's
you
twice
really
you've
stuck
named
with
Mark.
I
Who's
don't know.
Mark?
He's my gay lover,
Was-
okay? I'm
was,
sorry.
That's a Freudian slip.
Was Freelance, was that now or First Comics? Or was it somebody else?
First.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah, that was part of that's part of the first comics that a couple podcasts ago I talked about. IDW is doing as part of that. Bo Smith, who used to be the one of the editors or something with now with First Comics, is now with IDW, and he's gotten a couple of these, and kind of hoping he gets some more. I know McFarlane bought a lot of these properties when he was out buying. In his mood to buy a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm hoping they pull a few more of these away from him, such as Scout and
Oh, right.
Yeah, Tim Truman book.
Airboy, and start reprinting some of that stuff, because
Yeah.
that's some gorgeous stuff that hasn't seen the light of day in a while.
Mike Grell also did Warlord.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, he created Warlord.
Yeah, create for DC, and he was also an early Legion of Superheroes artist. Not early, but Legion of Superhero artist. So.
And just recently, he's been doing the Sunday Tarzan comics. I noticed.
Oh, right. That's
I
right.
noticed they stopped. The last one I looked at a couple of weeks ago, it wasn't him anymore, but he had been doing it. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous, clean artwork.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Iron Man, he also did a run of Iron Man. I know he wrote it. I'm not sure if he drew it, but he did.
Yeah,
write
that
it.
was.
But I heard
that's
it wasn't.
not some of
yeah.
his heart wasn't in that. That
Yeah.
was kind of. But anyway.
Okay. And next thing, I'd like to apologize if you send us an email and ask us a question or something and I don't get right back to you, because I'm starting to get a lot of email, which is great. I'm not complaining. Keep sending it.
Oh,
We
yeah,
love it.
Definitely.
Please.
But sometimes I get confused and I don't label something properly, and then it gets lost in the shuffle, and then I find it 2 weeks later and go, oh, crap, I never asked this guy's question or whatever. So we're not ignoring you. If you send us something and I haven't gotten back to you, please just bear with me until I get my email all straightened out.
Right. Same thing with if you leave a comment on the blog. There's been a couple of people who do that, and I love that. I love talking on the blog. We've answered some of those questions. There's some more that we need to answer. There's some web comics that people want us to look at that we want to interview them, and we haven't forgotten about you. It's just a matter of time, but we'll get there. We will get there.
Yeah. And then speaking of email, we got one from Catherine in Philly. We actually read from a Catherine email last time, but this email we actually received before that one. So we're kind of jumping out of order here.
Okay.
See, this is my example of one I forgot and it got lost in the shuffle. Catherine titles her email, How to Sell Comics on eBay? ? She says, so I've heard you guys talk about selling your comics on eBay, and this has led me to wonder if I could do the same thing. Since my 2-year-old son takes up most of my salary, I don't really have money to spare to pick up new books. But I do have a lot of duplicates of very old titles laying around that I'm willing to sell to get me money to do so. My concern is the whole very good, mint rating and quality nonsense. Some of my books were kept in wooden crates, stacked one on top of another for a number of years. Others were bagged after a few reads. Still others bagged and boarded after only one read-through. But how can I really tell what the quality of a book is? I mean, an Uncanny X-Men book from the 70s is not going to look like a new book. How do I rate it? Do people even sell singles? I mostly see runs when I look on eBay. Would anyone be interested in issues 132 and 138 if they're 132 through 138 if they're not in pristine condition? We're not talking dog ears here, just, well, red looking. Would a scan of a page to demonstrate quality be appropriate? It's just so confusing. I don't want to be ripped off, but neither do I want to rip anyone else off. I'd appreciate any insight. Wow. Peter, you're like the master of eBay. I sell quite a bit myself, but you always seem to amaze me with some of the money that you fetch for these things. I don't know what the hell you do. You just put your little whammy on there, and somehow...
It's got subliminal messages.
Yeah, somehow.
Like the picture,
yeah.
Don't be afraid of eBay. eBay works. I think in all my years of selling on eBay since I think I started in 99 or 2000, I've only had to refund somebody once, but it wasn't the full amount because of something that it was shipped and the post office basically it got banged up on its way. And I've been stiffed by a couple people, who just didn't pay. But if they don't pay, you just don't send the stuff out, So that doesn't bother me as much,
Right.
It's very simple. You go in, you sign up. I would suggest if you're new to eBay, do a couple test runs. Do a couple do a couple books that you won't be upset if you don't get as much money for, just so you can get a feel of, okay, I think I did that wrong, or I didn't quite give enough detail.
Plus, when you first start selling and you have zero feedback, you might not get as many people willing to bid on your products.
Exactly.
Because you have that big fat zero staring at them. So some of the experienced eBayers simply might not bid even though they want it and even though the price is right. So that your first two auctions could go for a low price because you don't have as many people bidding.
The way to kind of circumvent that is I would suggest go on eBay and buy a couple things.
Right.
Buy a couple auctions. Buy some cheap auctions. I always tend to look for, if you do a search, the first thing that kind of pops up are all the auctions that are going to end that day. Some are ending like in a couple minutes, then it'll go to the next hour, then it'll go that night, and so forth and so on. Find something that you're interested in that's cheap. I I love when they have buy it nows down there, especially for something that's really cheap, a single issue or something like that. Make sure you're not getting ripped off on the shipping. Some people do charge their shipping is way overpriced for a single book. That way what you can do, and then make sure you pay them right away.
Yeah, get a PayPal account.
Right.
So that you can pay through PayPal like 10 seconds after the auction ends.
Exactly.
Because that way, you're sure to get instant positive feedback.
Right. Build up your feedback. You don't have to do it just, 5, 6, maybe 10 if you want to be. That way you're on the right track.
Yeah, but even 2 or 3
you don't need much.
Is positive feedback.
Right. So then you go, okay, what do I sell? I can't give you an answer because I've sold single issues, I've sold storylines, I've sold trades, I've sold runs, I've sold CDs, I've sold Beyond Comics, I've sold CDs, novels, and graphic novels, and and other things. Because really, you don't ever know who is out there and what they want.
Yeah, it always amazes me at some of the stuff that you sell for incredible prices. That you just, for example, I just sold Elektra Assassin trade paperback at the Frank Miller one that's 8 issues, right? Because I had a copy, and then I bought a whole pile of Elektra trades for my wife, and it was included in there, so I had a duplicate. So I sold it. That's a $25 cover price. I sold this thing for $20.50.
Wow.
So after the guy paid shipping on it, which was like $3 or whatever, he saved like $1 if he would have bought it in the store. Now, he could have bought it from DCB Service for 35% off, but apparently he didn't know that, so he bought it from me for $20.50. Here, I thought I'd get like $10, and I thought that's fine because when I got it, the second duplicate copy, I basically paid like $4 for it. So I thought if I get 10, I made profit.
Right.
I'm good.
Right.
Here I got $20. It was just ridiculous. So you just never know what people are going to pay.
You never know. So so pick your 5 auctions that you're going to sell. First thing you should do is do a search to see if they're on eBay already. Now, what that'll help you do is that'll help you gauge, how much should you, if you're not sure about shipping, how much should you charge shipping. It'll give you different people's methods of listing descriptions. Some are very detailed when they describe their books about the content, the writers. I always tend to list, what company, the cover date. Other people hardly do anything.
I'm one of those. I just say, you are bidding on Marvel Comics Elektra Assassin trade paperback. It is in near mint condition. That's it. That's all I say. And I always put a picture though.
Right.
If you have a digital camera, I think personally, I don't bid on anything that doesn't have a picture because I want to make sure that person has what I think they have.
Right.
Because one time I bid on comics that didn't have a picture, and I got the wrong thing. It wasn't because it was mislabeled. It was that I had in my head, I was thinking one thing, and I didn't read it properly, and I ended up with another thing. And I was so excited, I thought, oh my God, I got that for only $3 or $4, and I got it as the wrong thing, and I went, no wonder it was only $4. It's crap.
Yeah, so, I mean, you talk about so the idea that, like I said, just so you can get an idea of like what else is out there, and if you're selling, we'll take the Elektra Assassin trade paperback just because we're talking about it. If other people have it, just look at what how they describe it. Give yourself a picture. Do a scan of the picture if you don't have a digital camera. And if it has a defect, if it has a crease in the spine, if it has a corner that I call it a flaked corner where it looks like it's just like either the cover's been like very tiny, it looks like it just got pulled off, or it's a little soft on the edge.
Right.
And a lot of that's from the comic shelf. I mean, the way they package comics nowadays, they're always banged up. Just put it on there. If it has a rip, put it on there. The last thing you want to do is not put on a blemish or a rip or something like that,
right.
And they get it and they're all upset at you. So definitely make sure if it has if you're not quite sure about very fine near mint, at least list the book itself. Some people even list if it's in a smoke-free house, or if it's been bagged and boarded all the time, or things like that. My thing about the rating system is I don't believe in near mints. I don't believe anything is near mint. The minute you put your grubby paws on it, it's near mint minus or very fine / near mint at the most.
See, to me, all books, if they came off the shelf, you read them once, you put them right in a bag and board. To me, that's a near mint book. Like I don't No one whoever sees.
Yeah, but see, you're near mint. But see, I understand yours. I'm talking about people who say mint books, and if somebody says mint book to me, it has to have the sharpest corners, no fingerprints on it. You know what I mean? Like that,
Well,
and that's tough
because
to find.
to me, there's no such thing as a mint book.
No, there's not.
Unless you work at the printer, and that thing rolls off the conveyor belt, and you shoot it right into a plastic bag. There's no so to
hermetically
me,
sealed.
a mint book is as mint as you can find it,
Right.
and that's a book that's been read once or twice, that doesn't have any creases, doesn't have any tears. That's a mint book as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
So I say near mint because all my books go
yeah.
right into the thing, and I let them decide. And but like you said, if there is any kind of blemish, you let them know,
Right.
because that's important, because then they think you're lying to them. So you don't necessarily have to say fair, poor,
No.
very fine, good plus. You don't have to say that kind of like official book rating. You just have to say it's in good condition. Good meaning not the official comic book good rating, but it's just a generalized. It's in pretty good condition. It has a minor crease in the lower right hand corner, or something, and
Right.
that's it. And then that's fine. Let them decide what condition that is and how much they want to pay for it.
If you have the technology, you can always put in there. I do this. I say if you ask questions, I will send closer scans or pictures, whatever. And half the time that's the battle. For the longest time, I didn't include pictures. Now for the past couple months, I have been including pictures of my books, and there has been an increase in this amount that I've sold. So you put on that Electro Assassin trade. Some people own scales that they can actually weigh a book with the packaging.
That's what I do.
Right. I don't own a scale. But I've done it enough to know that 1 to 4 or 5 books with the packaging that I use, and we'll talk about packaging in a minute, is send it media mail, which is the slowest way you can send it, but it's also the cheapest. It's not going to be any more than like $3-4, $3.
Oh yeah, it's like $3.
Yeah, I think it's like $2.58. It comes out to
something like that.
So
let me just talk about that.
Go ahead.
Media mail,
or book rate mail. Sometimes they call it.
They call it book rate media mail. Is a godsend. Okay, as a buyer, I don't care if it takes the slow boat from China. Just send it the cheapest way possible. If you want to give it to your 10-year-old neighbor and he wants to ride his bicycle across 4 states and he's only going to charge $2, that's the way I want it. I don't care. I want it cheap. I hate all these people who say, I'll send it overnight only with insurance and return receipt, and it's going to cost you $12 to ship it.
It costs you more to ship than it does to buy the book.
Dude, it's a $3 purchase. Why would I want to pay $10 in shipping? So I don't even give people. I mean, if someone emails me and they say, I want it such and such a way, then I do that.
Right.
But normally, I don't give them the option. I put in how much it weighs, and because eBay has the option of charging the exact shipping. So you don't really know how much it's going to cost until you get their money from them. But I weigh it with the packaging, so I know exactly. I put exactly how much it weighs, and then they put in their zip code, and the post office tells them how much it costs, and then they just pay me automatically over PayPal with that amount. And then it's so cheap. Most of the time I drop this stuff off, it's $2.50. That is, as a buyer, I feel okay paying $2.50, and as a seller, I know I'm not ripping them off because that's the cheapest way that I can possibly send it to them.
Right. And also, when you're first starting, I would suggest just sell in the United States, because once you get into international orders, that's a little different, and you don't want to be overwhelmed with that, because it's not as cheap to ship it, even though they pay for it. So I would suggest just stick to the U.S. Go ahead.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Oh.
Whoa. And don't take personal checks.
Oh, God, no.
Because, first of all, you wait for them to mail them to you. It takes 3 days. Then you have this check, and if that check bounces, then you lose $30 from your bank because you tried to cash a bogus check. Don't ask me how that works with the banks. Talk about a scam that is. But you'll get penalized because some moron in Montana tried to give you a bogus check. So just accept money orders only, or money orders and PayPal.
Right, and have that listed in your, eBay's great about.
It's an option when you're filling out your auction.
Right. That happened. I used to accept checks.
Yeah, me too.
And I got burned once, and I went, well, that's it.
Right.
So you put the trade on. You list. If it's a trade, you should list if it's like first printing, second printing. Same thing with the book, comics itself, because some people are very anal about that. sometimes I list how many pages are in it. The one thing I do with trades is I list what it's collecting.
Oh, always, yeah.
Because, like Electro Assassin, that's easy. But if it's like the Superman Exile story, well, most people, that was in 3 different titles. So you should really list what's in there. And then you have what's called a starting bid. Most people, I think, Brian, you always start what, at like $1, around $1?
I used to start at $1, but I've upped it to $2 because I sold a bunch of auctions for $1. And once I take away eBay's 25-cent fee or 35-cent fee,
to list
and then the PayPal, when people pay by PayPal, PayPal takes a small percentage.
And then eBay also takes a percentage
of the total
of what you
so
won.
So I was end up making like 10 cents, for selling a book for $1 or 5 books for $1, whatever it was. So it cost me more in gasoline and my time to package it up than to even it wasn't even worth it for me.
Right.
So $2, I make $1.10, big whoop, but at least I make $1,
If you want to hear my crazy thing, when it comes to if I have a couple books, this is what I do. I take the cover price, or I take what it was that I bought it for. I divide it by half, and then subtract what I'm going to charge for shipping. And then if it's comes down to $6.50, I'll make it $5 starting bid. If it comes out to $11.99, I make it a $9.99 starting bid. So that way I know I'm close to getting at least half.
See, I just played the psychological game where if it's $2, even though I'm hoping I'm going to sell it for $40,
right?
I sucker those people in at the beginning because it's I know I do this. Sometimes I'll go through and I'll just bid on something that I want, and I say, I know that auction's going to end for $70, but it's $3. I'm going to bid on it in the off chance that no one else bids on it, and I get it for $3.
Right.
And then, of course, 2 days later, I find out that I'm outbid.
Right.
But every once in a while, I win one of those.
Yeah, I'm a little more.
So I just lure them in.
Right.
The old bait and switch or whatever.
Because here's the thing: don't go into eBay right away thinking you're going to make money. You're not. Because truthfully, the ones that sell really well, you're selling just as many that aren't selling well.
Right.
So it all evens out in the end. You do make some money. And like Brian said, I've sold some things that I thought were going to really make me a lot of money that didn't, and I got so annoyed, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I don't have those books anymore. And then I've put some things on there like the Avengers Operation Galactic Storm crossover, 19 issues. They were mostly about maybe $1.50 or $1.75, $1.95 each or something like that. $90-some I sold that auction for. I could have gone out and bought it 3 more times, and you know what I mean. And it was because people fought over it, and I had all the issues, So when you have something that's a little more obscure, you're talking about books in the 70s. She said, maybe they're not all that great, but people probably want them, so you could probably go for $1 or $2 starting bid, and they might go up, depending on their condition.
And runs are generally more enticing than single issues, unless it's a very important single issue.
Right. Right.
If it's Hulk 181, then that's a fine single issue. But
right.
if you just have 6 issues of Batman from the 70s,
just
sell them all together.
Right.
Because you're definitely going to get more that way than if you just try to sell one issue at a time.
I see a lot of people put on single issues of current books, and no, I always shy away from them.
Well, first of all, who's going to buy one book and then have to pay $250 shipping?
Right.
Because the shipping isn't going to be any cheaper on one book than it is on 5 books or 6 books, because the weight is still in that same price tier. Because the price doesn't go down every ounce it weighs. It's basically your cheapest medium mail is $250 or something.
I think it's $1.80.
Oh, $1.85.
Yeah. And then the next one is $2.58.
Right. So it goes in these little chunks.
Mm-hmm.
So one book, you're paying as much in shipping as you are for the book. So people don't buy one book generally.
Right. So you put it up, you make it as clear as you can, and I normally do 5 days. Some people go to the 7 days. If you go more than having an auction 7 days, they charge you
a little extra.
Some people put their things in bold, which charges you 10 cents. I just do the barest minimum. It costs you for a book under $10 or an auction under $10. eBay charges you a 35-cent listing fee,
and that's $10 starting bid. Under a $10 starting bid.
Under a $10 starting bid, yeah.
Right. They take a percentage of your total sale. I don't remember what the percentage. 1.5%
it's
or something.
5. For a $1 book, they charge you 5 cents. If an auction goes for $1, they charge you 5 cents. So
it's a very tiny percentage.
Yeah. I mean, I've made $500-600 in a month, and only had to pay eBay like $50, $40-50. So you can make money. So you put your starting bid in. They have other things like they have what's called a reserve price, but that'll scare a lot of people off. A reserve price basically is a price that's listed that only you see, and basically if the auction doesn't meet a reserved price, you can start the auction at $1. But your reserve price is like $50, which means basically you're not selling it unless it reaches $50.
Right.
It does tend to scare people off. But the good thing, though, is that if it's $49.99 and your reserve is $50, you don't have to sell it. Now, chances are if it's $49.99, I would sell it. It's only a penny. But if it only gets to like $30 and you want it $50, you don't have to sell it. eBay, that's kind of the cool thing. You can use that to gauge how much people are going to bid on it. The other one is a buy it now price where you can just put a buy it now price. If you start bid at $1, but you want maybe $20 for it, you put a buy it now $19.99. Somebody might buy it.
Yeah. You pay that's like 50 cents.
And you always pay
a
little more for those.
Once in a while, they run a special where they give you buy it now for free. And in which case, I always put a buy it now on when it's free. And I've sold a lot of books.
Oh yeah.
By buy it now. I mean, some things I've sold like 10 seconds after I put it up. It's like by the time I check my email, it says auction has ended. Rock on!
Shane has sold a lot of those Marvel Legends series. He put them on his buy it nows, and they went fast. So sometimes, but that you have to do research. You have to make sure either put on whatever you paid for it or what you think it might go for.
Yeah, because some people you see these buy it now prices, and it's like
insane.
They're like, starting bid $2, buy it now $30. I'm thinking I don't want to pay more than $8 for that.
Right.
And you want to entice me to have it instantly for $30? You're out of your mind.
The reason I do 5 days and not 7 is because I found that it really doesn't make a difference for my auctions. For my experience, 7 days, it just means they're waiting 2 more days to bid.
Yeah, because most people don't bid on books until they're down to the last day or so.
Mm-hmm. Down to the last 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, a lot of them don't even see the books until it's down to the last day or so, because if there are 20 other people selling the same thing, you're like 3 pages back. They don't even see it.
Right.
So 7 days, 5 days. Yeah.
Now I think they call that. Is that called sniping? I think that's called when they get down to like the last 10 seconds and then they bid.
But that's the way you bid.
Right. And what I was going to say is that's perfectly legal. It may piss you off. Like say you have like a book on there for $1 or something you think was going to sell and it's down to $1 and you're like, oh well, at least it's not going to sell. Oh, and then somebody comes in the last 5 seconds and buys it. Nothing you can do about it. That is completely legal.
But a lot of times you get surprised because you'll be looking.
Oh, yeah.
And you'll go, there's an hour left and no one's bid on anything. And you go shopping. You come back, all of a sudden you made $37.50. And you're like, yes.
Yeah, I love that. I do that sometimes. I just refresh the page. Yeah. And it's like, it's like up another $5. Then I refresh it again. It's up to another $10. So, yeah, I love that. So then, so let's say you sold the auction and you package it. Make sure you are packaging it the way you would want to receive a book.
Right.
Because I've had people stick a comic in a flimsy envelope and send it to me with no backing board, no cardboard, nothing. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is how I do my book. If it's a trade, it's bagged, it's boarded on both sides. This is how anal I am. I take newspaper, and normally it's the comic section. I wrap that around the trade. Then I stick that onto cardboard and cut 2 pieces of cardboard, stick that on, tape that up, and then put brown, it's like postal or wrapping paper around that. Shove that into a simple manila envelope, write it on there, boom, sell it. People love it. And I also stick like pictures from previews on it to kind of make, I go all out, but I have to say, I've had a lot of return customers because of that, because they know my shipping is going to be great.
The other thing that I do when I do it is I take, all my books are all in bags and boards, so they're always bagged and boarded.
Right.
But then I put them in like a plastic shopping bag from Walmart or whatever, just so it's a little more waterproofed in case the package would get wet somehow. This way it's preventing the water from getting anywhere near the book.
That's a good idea.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So definitely package it the way you want to. If you have, I've had 100 books go to France. I bagged and boarded them. I newspapered them. I didn't do the cardboard thing because they're in boxes, and I had some other things. I put bubble wrap around the inside of the box. I stuffed it with peanuts, and it was heavy, but they pay for the shipping, and it got there, and he loved them, So make sure you package right. Don't just think that a simple envelope and a bag and board is going to be enough, because it's not.
Yeah. Once you start selling things on eBay, you start saving every box you get in the mail and all those stupid peanuts that you used to curse out and throw away. Now they're like, oh, I got more peanuts.
Yeah.
I can be professional when I make my deliveries.
Oh yeah. There was something else I was going to say. Oh, in my description, I put down, how, I guess I put down how I package it, and I list and I say, if you want insurance, that's an extra $1.30, because the $1.30 gives you like $50 of insurance, which is great. But then I put down, and I highly recommend this. I put it down in the description. I highly recommend you get insurance, because I am not responsible for what the post office does, because I go out of my way to package my stuff really good. But there's that offset chance that the post office is going to lose your books, or it's going to get crushed under, other heavy boxes. And that's something I can't control. And I think most people who buy on eBay know that, and they understand that, as long as you made the attempt to package it well, if it's damaged beyond that, I think they understand that. I've never had a problem. So I always say, if there's a carelessness of the post office and you didn't have insurance, I'm sorry, that's on you.
Yeah, I one time had a person who claimed they never got what I sent them, and I know that I sent it out, obviously,
right?
And it was only like the auction sold for like $3, and it wasn't like a big deal. And this woman was nice about it, and she emailed me and said, "It's been 2 weeks, I still haven't got. It's been 3 weeks, I still haven't got." Mm-hmm. I said, "I don't know what to tell you. I sent it." And I said, "Are there any other books you're looking for? I'll send you something for free," which I really didn't have to do. And then she told me a list, and I didn't have anything, and then it just kind of got forgotten. And she didn't give me any negative feedback, she said, because she saw that I had, 50 positive feedback,
sure.
And it was only for $3 worth of books. Why would I lie and say I sent it when I didn't? So she believed me, but it does happen every once in a while.
What you could do is you could offer delivery confirmation. Just put an extra 55 cents on your shipping. Because that way, then both parties know where it's at all times.
Right.
And if it gets lost, you have a receipt, basically, of the shipping. Beyond that, you just got to kind of take your chances. And like I said, don't go in there thinking you're going to get a lot. I've had.
Sounds like Tasha's home.
Tasha's home. I've had great successes. Like I said, I've sold Vengeance of Bane 1 and 2, both of them for $25. $50 altogether. I've
crazy.
sold Green Lantern Sentinel Heart of Darkness 1 through 3 for $30. It was a 3-issue series. There was something else I was going to say about eBay, and I can't remember what it is. But if you have any other questions, just give us an email. I'll be happy to coach you through. I have like over 300 feedback things. I've sold more than 500 auctions. It's kind of like a secondary income for me. And if you're willing to sell your stuff, somebody out there, if you have Speedball 1 through whatever, somebody's going to I might buy it, because I'm looking for a full run of that now. So I'm sure we've answered your questions, and there's probably a lot more. So like I said, feel free to email us. We'll be more than happy to talk some more about it.
You know what time it is.
Give somebody else a chance to talk. Stone. I'm so punchy right now. I think the Mountain Dew's kicking in.
Yeah. All right, Jamie is going to do the honors today.
All right,
Jamie.
Jamie.
All right, here we go.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, I have 2 DC and 1 Marvel.
Oh, no.
Okay, what was the first appearance of Max Mercury?
Oh.
Peter's favorite first appearance question.
I hate first appearance questions.
I won't. You don't even have to get the number. Just give me the comic.
All American Comics.
No. Afraid not. National Comics, number 4.
National Comics.
November, cover date, November 1940.
Was that when he was Quicksilver?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I just was scrambling to get some questions, and I thought, damn, I didn't realize that. So
yeah.
I figured.
He was I forget what company it was, but he was actually...
Yeah, National... I think it was DC. I'm pretty
sure.
Was it DC? I'm pretty
sure
it was DC.
And he was called Quicksilver back then. So.
Okay, here's a softball for you.
Good, thank you.
Name the Forever People.
Oh, This is the one with Big Bear, right? Beautiful Dreamer.
Two.
Viking the Black, Mark Moonrider, and Seraphim, and they joined together to create Infinite Man.
Wow, I'm out of the park.
And the word they used is Taru. It's part of Jack Kirby's New Gods.
Jack Kirby. God, you were so good at thinking stuff up, but you were so bad at writing.
Here's a tangent trivia question for that. Infinite Man was later revealed to be the brother of who?
Darkseid. You got me.
Darkseid.
Oh.
Yeah, it's in one of those when John Byrne took over the New Gods and his Tales of the New Gods. They actually became brothers.
Cool.
Kind of interesting.
Okay, and one of my favorites, Assistant Editors Month.
Okay.
From Marvel Comics. Who guest starred in the Fantastic Four issue of that was part of Assistant Editors Month?
John Byrne.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 2 out of 3. Yay.
That's much better showing than your
than
recent.
1 of 3 and 0.
Yeah. Aye.
Thanks, Jamie.
Hey, no problem. That's what friends are for.
All right, so Peter, you and Jamie want to talk about Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah. When I got back from New York, Jamie had already seen it once.
Yep, I had seen it once.
Yep, and he invited Shane, and then they invited me to go see Hitchhiker's Guide.
So wait, you weren't one of the original invitees?
No, I wasn't.
No, because he was all
second class.
No, he was all pathetic on the. We saw the thing. He's like, "I'm gonna be home alone. Please, let's do something."
It wasn't like that.
I'm so lonely. I need a woman.
I'm actually going to let Jamie talk about it because he's a bigger fan of it than I am. But I thoroughly enjoyed I will say this. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. And it was a quick 2 hours. I don't mean that in a bad way. It was like, it was done. And I was like, oh, it's done. Oh. So.
Yeah, no, I just, when I posted on our one board, my posting was fucking brilliant. And that's what I felt about it when I got done watching it. I was a little leery going into it because I didn't know how much Douglas Adams had, how much of an influence he had. And he's such a quirky writer that to love his stuff the way I love his stuff, and then to watch somebody else try to do it, it's sometimes a pale imitation. But you walk in, they start talking about the dolphins, and for anybody who knows anything about Hitchhiker's Guide, knows the significance of the dolphins in the hierarchy of smartest animals on the planet. And they started out with a whole Busby Berkeley song and dance number, "So Long and Thanks for All the Fish,"
which was absolutely hysterical.
And I knew from that second on that this train was heading on the right track. They had done a brilliant job. It was Disney, so again, I wasn't 100% sure if they would do it correctly. And they did. I thought the casting was dead on. I mean, I've heard some things talking about Mos Def as Ford Prefect wasn't great, but I didn't think they really gave him much to do other than as a way to get our hero Arthur off of Earth and onto his adventures in outer space.
I kind of enjoyed him being subdued because Zaphod, whatever the heck.
Zaphod,
thank you. He was so over the top in a great way that I kind of like the parallel between those two.
Sam Rockwell, if you've seen him in other stuff, Adventures of a Dangerous Mind, Charlie's Angels, the first one, he was a bad guy in that. A great actor, and he was just over the top brilliant. I mean, it was kind of like Elvis meets I don't know what.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Meets,
And he was just fantastic.
Yeah. I love the casting of Trillian. I was so thankful they didn't pick a supermodel to do that. They picked your girl, like a next door neighbor girl, and she was so cute.
Yeah, Zoe Deschanel or something like that. She was in with Will Ferrell in Elf. She played the love interest in that.
Oh yeah, okay.
And actually, we're talking about now. Yeah.
I've come to now. She'll be the next one I stalk, but no, just kidding, just kidding. Please, I'm just kidding. No, it was just great. I mean, for those of you, and I can't imagine anybody listening to this who wasn't a fan who hasn't seen it already, But I know a couple fans who were on the fence. They didn't know if they wanted to go see it because they didn't know. I'll tell you, watch for the cameos of the original Arthur, Douglas Adams in two brief, just quick cameos.
Really quick.
I almost didn't recognize him until they showed it the second time, and I realized, yeah, that was him before he unfortunately passed away.
Look for the BBC Marvin
Yep,
robot.
Marvin the robot in the scene where they're all kind of standing in line, waiting in line. He shows up a couple times, and no, it was really good movie.
And pretty faithful to the story.
Yeah.
There's not they can't do everything, but. They did what they could, and it certainly feels like they could do at least 2 or 3 more movies out of this. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they even end it saying they're going to the restaurant at the end of the universe, which is the name of the second book, and it's where the second book goes. So I'm hoping they do, because it did pretty well. I mean it opened number 1. I guess it dropped to number 2. I think the second week, and the third week, or it dropped to number 3 the second week, which still wasn't that bad considering. One of the there were 3 big movies that came out the second week, and it actually beat one of those 3 big movies. So,
wow.
So yeah, I think it did well enough that, and I think you'll see DVD and tape sales do pretty well for it. So.
Right, and the Hitchhiker book itself was very well done, and the little computer encyclopedia things. It was
yeah,
really
the voice
cool.
For all of you who are fans of the Blackadder series and. Just trying to think. Jeeves and Wooster from Masterpiece Theater, I guess it was, or Mystery. Stephen Fry does the voice, and he's one of my favorite British actors and British voices. A very witty gentleman, and perfect casting for that for just a voice of the Hitchhiker's Guide.
The other thing too is I have to say the Jim Henson puppetry, the costuming and. Was wonderful.
I mean, it was Farscape quality.
Right.
If you like Farscape, it was very the Vogons, who are the big race of galactic paper pushers. It was just it was you could see what they did in Farscape. It was pretty much the same scale and just very good puppetry, and so
cool.
I highly recommend it.
That's our little Hitchhiker's review.
All right. Well, that brings us to an end. If you want to email us, send it to comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, and go to our blog, comicgeekspeak.blogspot.com. Join the forum.
Enter our contest.
Send in your audio submissions for Stump the Rios.
Win cool stuff.
Send in your audio submissions for Geek of the Day.
Win cool stuff.
That's right. Win cool stuff. That's our new motto here at Comic Geek Speak. Comic Geek Speak, your spot on the internet to win cool stuff.
From DCBService.com.
All right. And with
We
that,
love them.
we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.